How's it going, folks? I'm Mike with Drone Deer Recovery. This is Dennis, one of our subcontractors from the local area. Today, we are going to be talking drone deer recovery stories, some of the stories that Dennis has been doing, and then some of our stories as well. We just get into it. So here we go. Alrighty, welcome back to the Drone Deer Recovery Podcast. Today we got Dennis in the house. How's it going, Dennis?
It's going great.
So, Dennis, you started flying drones because you've seen stuff on YouTube, and you're local here, and you were like, I want to join the team and kind of do what I do.
Yep, absolutely. I saw you the first time. It's probably been a few years.
Few years? I've only been going for 14 months.
No, well, it must have been 14 months.
Oh, no, wait. You're saying just me in general. You remember seeing me?
Yes.
Okay.
But I did see you at a sportsman show somewhere. You had this.
Yeah, it was probably up at the Mount Hope.
Puny little.
Yep, I had a baby drone back then.
Yeah,
yep.
It was. But I thought that's a cool idea. Then I saw your videos last year, and I thought, man, that does look like a lot of fun. But with the business that I had and stuff, I couldn't do it.
So you had a business, you were working hard, you spent a lot of time doing your business, and then you ended up selling it.
Yep.
And gave you a little bit of time to do this.
You got it. That's it. Sold the business about 3 months ago, and then started getting into some other stuff, but it gave me enough flexibility to do this, which has been an interesting journey.
Yeah,
to say the
right.
least.
So you had mentioned last time, well, not just the last time, but a week or so ago, you and I were talking. Not much sleep. You weren't getting much sleep because Drone Deer Recovery was sending you that many calls to do.
That is right. We started out with a bang. That is for sure.
Yeah.
So,
It like when season first starts, right? Like you're fired up and it's early season, it's hard searching, and you're excited about it. But then it all of a sudden is just like a switch. Right now it needs to be done. What's going on, Kevin? You look at me like, what? Okay.
Yeah, it's been pretty crazy. So I started, of course, doing some just for friends and family, and which gives you great practice. But man, I tell you what, when I started, when I hooked up with you guys and you started giving me leads, things got really crazy. Very few hours of sleep type of stuff.
When I say that line all the time, it's going to be wild. Like you experience that yourself. Like
that's for sure.
Yeah. Same with Austin. Like he's like, Mike, this is wild. And Austin's supposed to be here. Austin is not here. Kevin's behind the camera doing all the computer stuff. Austin was out all night last night doing recovery. Got home. Did he say 6 o'clock this morning? Yeah. He got back home 6 o'clock this morning.
5:45, he texts me, and it's like, can we delay this thing?
You would have probably been out, but your LP12 quit working.
Yes, I got my first full night's sleep in a long time because
nice.
My light quit working.
Yeah.
So
that being said, guys, if you're listening to this and you also fly drones and you do have the LP12, there is a software issue with these LP12s right now that with the latest firmware update from DJI, you plug your LP12 in, and it corrupts the firmware on the LP12, and so it just basically becomes a brick, and you can't do anything about it. The only other thing you can do about it is send it to ZZI, and then they have to repair it. Unfortunately, that happened to yours not last night, but the night before while you were flying on a call, right?
Yes. I was using did one, went to the other one, fired it up, go out, try to light it up. Nothing.
It's so weird that like literally within just a couple seconds you didn't do anything different and it just won't show up.
Yeah.
The firmware is completely corrupt, but we are now going to be promoting a new light. It's brighter. It just doesn't go to 90 degrees. It goes to 85 degrees, but it still works great. I think a lot of people are going to end up starting to use that light. So I'm a little upset. I sat down here, and we come to find out that some of our best footage that we call Guts Out Buck didn't upload properly to the cloud. And now the editors got in touch with us and are like, where's this footage? And we shouldn't even have looked at it because now I'm upset sitting here knowing that we're not going to be able to show you guys that cool footage. But that's just a whole nother thing. That footage is coming. You guys are going to want to check into this. Tell us some of the coolest or craziest things you have now seen. Like when you walked in the door, you started showing me, a video clip of this buck that was shot quartering away, had an exit coming out of the shoulder, and you're like, Mike, how's this deer still alive?
Yeah, it's happening over and over. I'm telling you, I have seen some of the craziest stuff. Now, I've been around hunters. I've hunted all my life. I'm not like a diehard hunter, like all of the rest of my family is. So, but I'm saying that I've been around it, and I have never seen anything like these bucks just not willing to die.
Yeah.
And now there is something, you get out there, you see the hunter, and they're always like, I drilled it, totally smoked it, it should be laying right in there, and you find it 2 hours later and it's still running around. And that the hunters can't believe it. But now, on the other hand, some of these hunters, I would have said, you totally smoked it. And for some reason, they just keep going. I'm telling you, there's 2 bucks that just this weekend, I found them Saturday. The one was shot Friday. I found that one Saturday, still going. They showed me pictures of the blood trail. And it's just like you could just walk along.
I mean, it's shocking how much blood they lose and they can still be alive.
It's bubbly. It's like obviously lung shot. And there's just tons of it. And eventually they quit going after it because they're like, something's off here. Mm-hmm. And so they get us come out. And sure enough, I find it had traveled another probably 300-400 yards after they last found blood, had bedded down. And we're like, great, he's bedded down. We'll come back next day and check him. Came back next day.
Yeah, because they didn't want to go in case that he's not dead, right? Yeah. You'd bump him off. So the technology allows them to see if it's completely dead.
That's exactly why. And if it's a nice buck, that's a good idea because you're way more likely to get it if you don't keep bumping.
Oh, yeah.
And so, that one, that's a really nice one. And it's still, I looked at it every day.
You looked at it every day? What?
It's just so I had 2 in the same area. And so usually one of them called me and was like, you got to come back. This buck's still like, we can't find him or he's not dead. And so I'd go and check on the other one. And so I could give excellent customer service there because there were 2 in the same area. But so I go back not last night. Yesterday morning was the last. So this would have been Tuesday morning. Yeah. Monday, they went in, figured he's dead. No, jump him. He takes off running. He was still laying in the same spot.
No way.
That he had been laying for
a
long time. But he takes off, moves. I find him again yesterday morning. He moved, a little ways, but found him still looking fine. And we could see the entry. So he believed he shot it and hit the opposite shoulder because it was limping on that side. And there was no exit wound there, but we could see the entry wound, and it looks like it should be a double lung shot. Like
it is shocking what they can go through. I think a lot has to do with the rut as well. Like I think if it'd be late season, you hit a deer like that, or early season, they'd be maybe a little bit more often to just like lay down and die. But when it's rut, it is insane. Like what you're seeing. Right, like I was telling these stories last year already on different podcasts and showing it on the videos, and I was saying like how wild this is, and now we have people like yourself and probably hundreds more people out there using drones to recover carcasses and finding deer that are hit that are like now seeing it for firsthand. Like this is nuts. Like some of this stuff.
Yeah. The other buck that I was looking for, that's like probably 5 miles apart, and that one. Arrow goes straight through. I believe we could see the entry, the exit hole. You would have set maybe a little bit high, but no way would have I ever thought that deer would survive. And he's walking around eating yesterday. So that's it. That one was shot Saturday, and he was still going strong. I think he'll be fine. It's totally nuts. While I was looking for that one, I find another one literally about 100 yards from where that one was at, laying there with a broken arrow in his back.
What?
No idea where it comes from.
Wait. So the
really nice one.
So no, wait. You were looking for your customer's buck, and in in the process of doing that, you find another buck with an arrow in it, but they don't know who shot it?
Nobody knows. Just absolutely crazy. So yeah, I was looking at 3 bucks yesterday morning that just did not want to.
No way. Have you been looking for a client's buck and found another deer dead that was not theirs?
Dead, like really, really dead.
Yeah.
Yes, like as in probably a month.
No way.
But yeah, I have. Buzzard was chowing down on it.
But what did the carcass still have heat?
No, this one did not.
Oh, okay.
The buzzard made me look at it.
Okay. Yeah. So Jason, the other night, he was. So we had a customer call us, wanted to see if we can find a deer for him, and we were right next door, and we told him the price. Price was too much for him. Jason was actually working for another customer down the road. Here, Jason flies across the buck. They find it. And they go out there to recover it, and they show up, and the hunter's like, "That's not my buck," or something like that. And then we send that coordinates to the hunter that reached out to us earlier, and it ended up being his buck.
Oh no way!
Like you can't even. Like it's so crazy.
Yeah. And actually, the one I went and found Saturday that was still alive, that hunter casually mentions that, hey, some of the other hunters that were here yesterday or Friday morning. They shot one, and they couldn't find it. They gave up. They did not call drone deer recovery. Should have, because after I found his, I'm like, hey, should I take a little look for the other one? He's like, yeah, sure. I go over 5 minutes, find it.
No
dead.
way.
Yeah.
Was it dead?
Oh yeah, that one was dead.
No way.
So we recovered that one for the other guys. So I just told my customer, you need to make them pay heavier. So. He did give me a tip for finding that one, though.
Nice.
So.
That's cool. Yeah, it is crazy what you come across when you're doing this. We were talking a little bit ago. It's like, what's with the sunshine? We live in Ohio.
The sunniest November ever.
We like it overcast.
I tell you what, I've never had a year where I was like, man, I can't wait for cloudy days and no leaves on the trees. Like, get these. And this year it's like they're hanging on forever, and the sun keeps shining, and it's November.
Yep. I talked to a guy yesterday in Louisiana, and he's like, it's overcast. And I'm like, yes. Can it just be overcast here? Like,
especially now that my light's not working right now. I got to replace that thing quickly.
We'll have more lights for you, hopefully, by tomorrow. But yeah, man, what crazy cool stories. We could probably sit here all day and talk about some of these stories that have been already told. Last night, I was flying on a mission, and all of a sudden, we hear 5 gunshots in the pitch black dark. I'm like, oh, boy. I seriously think somebody was shooting at my drone. Have you had that happen yet?
I have not had them shoot at it. I've had hunters warn me about certain neighbors that are very likely to shoot at it. But
when I hear that, then I'm like, I don't. Okay, if your neighbor is going to shoot at my drone, how are you ever going to go get that deer, right? Like if you're on the neighbor's.
Oh yeah, good point.
So I'm like, wait.
They like the hunters better than the drones.
Yeah.
No, I do think it would be a really good idea to have them tell the neighbors if they possibly can. Just call them if you can and tell them, hey, we're going to have a drone flying around, because that, I can understand why somebody would get a little antsy about that. That did happen to me the other night. 3 o'clock. I'm like, nobody's awake, and I'm looking for a good buddy of mine. And all of a sudden, we see the neighbor driving through the fields and stuff. It's like
at 3 in the morning,
like between 2 and 3 in the morning. And I'm like, what? That is strange. Like, how did we wake him or whatever? But that guy ended up finding us. We found that buck, and then the neighbor came close enough to where we went out and met him, and they knew the neighbor well. He was really cool about it. But
what was he doing?
I said the dogs started barking because they heard the drone, and so he came out and saw it and was like, "That's weird, a drone fly in the middle of the night." But he came out. He was great.
Huh?
Didn't have a problem with it at all. So
what's your wife say about you being gone all night?
Oh boy. No, she's cool. She's about as good as you can imagine about it, and I did warn her. It's good,
it's just for a short season.
Yes, it's for a short season.
Yep.
But yeah.
What are you doing, Kevin?
He's cleaning the lens. It's like
It's like a guy. It's like a guy that needs to. Okay. Yeah,
Camera guys cleaning the lens while we're shooting. This is good. That should be some
any
epic
guy's shot
footage.
too. Good stuff. So, do you have children?
No kids.
No children.
Just
Bunch of dogs.
Just dogs. They're everywhere.
You were showing me a picture of big. What did you call them?
Huskies.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got 6 huskies, got 2 Australian shepherds, and I got 2 pomskis, which are like little huskies.
And they were all in your house last night.
Last night they were. That's not supposed to happen, but my wife's like, they can come in here whenever they want. No, they can't come in whenever they want. Not the huskies, but they like it on the outside anyway. So
nice.
Well, they can get into the garage, which is.
What do you plan on doing like in the future with drones? Are you wanting to get more involved in other like industries, or just stick with the thermal stuff?
Well, this stuff is a lot of fun, but I am very interested, and I talked with you about a little bit about getting into other stuff and getting into the ag stuff. I love it. I've always liked technology, so this is
when you started telling me that you were trying to figure out how to hack your LP12, I'm thinking, doggone, aren't you ex-Amish like me?
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Yes.
How'd you get so techie?
I don't know. Probably because I wasn't allowed to have it. You want what you can't have. I don't know, but I never really took training to do anything. But I learned that if you just try all kinds of stuff, usually you can figure it out at some point.
That's crazy.
But the LP12 one I haven't figured out. So.
Yeah, you were gonna try to hack into it to get it to work.
I was Googling stuff. I was in the computer, like doing crazy code stuff. Yeah, and it just would not let me do it. So I finally gave up.
Yeah.
Yeah. After you told me it's a brick.
It's true. It is a brick. The only thing you can do is send it off to CZI. But so you're techie, or you like tech.
Oh yeah.
And you're thinking about maybe getting into other, basically agricultural. You're thinking, and anything else outside of that?
Not in particular. I figured I maybe do some photography and stuff like that, but I'm not sure how much I want to get into that. I used to do that some with my power paramotor.
Oh, you fly powered paramotor?
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about that. How long have you been flying powered paramotor?
10.5 years.
What?
Almost 11 years, yeah.
Holy man.
So, yeah, been flying.
I fly ultralights, but not powered paramotor.
Yeah.
Like, so there's two different, yours is like a parachute thing.
Yep.
And mine would have like a rigid wing.
Yep.
So, yours fits in the back of your F-150, mine doesn't.
Oh, yeah. I could literally break this one down in about 5 minutes and put it in the back of my car. So, that's one thing I like about those is they're very
Would
easy
you
to
say
transport.
that knowing how to fly powered paramotors, was any of that knowledge helpful in learning how to fly drones, or is it just completely different?
I don't know that it was necessarily helpful in learning how to fly, but I can tell you, knowing a little bit about airspace made it a lot easier to get my Part 107.
Yeah.
that made, a lot of that stuff I had known already. Not that you have to know that stuff to fly a power paramotor. You don't need anything.
You don't need a license to fly a power paramotor?
Nothing. No. Nope.
Just being a little bit of daring, and you can go do it.
Yeah. Well, I highly recommend training, but I trained a couple of my friends' brother. I taught them how to fly their paramotors in the last couple of years. That is a lot of responsibility, though.
But, teaching somebody how to fly, and then and then they go out and get hung up in a power line. That wouldn't be
not be good. But they're all doing great. Fortunately,
good.
So that's been good, and love to do it. Been doing a ton of flying with those things.
Have you been flying lately? Because you have been, even if you're flying drones this month.
Oh, not in the last 3 weeks. Come on.
Yeah.
End of October was the last time.
No way.
We did it on a Saturday, like last Saturday in October.
Yeah, because the thing is with those power paramotors, you're flying those evenings, and that's when you're getting ready to head out to look for people's carcasses.
Yeah, that's for sure. So
not people carcasses. You're looking for customers' deer carcasses.
Yeah. So yeah, this weather isn't, right now it's not too bad. We'll probably go flying at some point, but my brother just bought a brand new one, so we got to go try that one out.
Go try that thing out. What was I going to say? Oh, okay, so going to get your Part 107, you knew some airspace stuff. How long did you study before you went to take your test?
That's a good question. I did quite a while. I purchased the drone school. You recommended it to me.
I don't even remember which one that was. But there's a bunch of different ones. Yeah.
You sent me a link for it. And so I paid a couple $100 for a class basically to go through. That made it really easy. But the class was, fairly intense to go through the whole thing. And I didn't know that I would, but I ended up going through the whole thing. Was very informative. It was interesting.
Yeah, I think everybody that wants to fly a drone, there's enough good stuff to learn just in general, like safety wise and airspace wise, and it makes you a little bit more conscious of what you're doing with your drone. Like,
for sure,
don't be that guy that's taking the thing to 3,000 to 4,000 feet because, dude, an airplane could come along and just you'll never see that. If I'm going almost 200 mile an hour, I will never see that drone come through the windshield.
No.
So I definitely think it's a good thing that if you guys are listening and you've ever thought about getting your Part 107, sign up for one of those online courses and learn what what they teach you in there, and you'll just become more aware of, some of the rules and regs and airplane stuff. So it's very helpful for sure. What other cool, crazy stories as far as drone deer recovery? So one night I called you. You were out literally all night. What's the latest or earliest you came home one day?
Oh, yeah. That was when I was convinced Mike enjoys torturing people.
Tell me about that.
So I was all out all night. This was on a Thursday night, I want to say. And I just ended up, getting calls at 12 o'clock. This was 12 in the evening. I'm like, there's this one customer that wants me to look for a buck yet, but he's not answering anymore. I think he fell asleep, but I'm close to his place, and I'm like, I don't want to drive all the way home. Then he called me, so I'm like, I'm just going to the gas station, buying a little something, taking a nap, and see what happens. Sure enough, 10 minutes, I'm just closing my eyes. He calls. He's like,
wait, you were going to take a nap at the gas station?
Yes, because I didn't want to drive all the way home and have this guy call me. So he calls me, and he's like, yeah, can you just come right now and look for it? And by that time, it was probably 1 o'clock. I'm like, yeah, I'll come. All right, I'm not sleeping anyway. So I go down there. We find his buck, and at 3 o'clock, 3 in the morning, I was literally helping this guy drag the biggest buck out of the woods. We almost could not load that flipping thing on the
you became a full-service recovery company.
Yeah, I did, for sure. I do way too much of that crap. I should not do it. But I have helped drag more bucks out of the woods this year than I have ever dragged out in my entire life combined.
Way.
Oh, for sure.
That's great.
So, but I love it. I like going and seeing the deer, and plus, if I want to video a little, it makes great. So, yeah, I drag that guy out. I do some stuff there. I drive all the way home. I get home. It's about 5 o'clock. Well, it's about 4:30, but I'm like, I smell like a gut shot buck. I am gonna take a shower before I sleep. I take a shower, get out of bed. 5 o'clock. I'm like, you know what? Mike's going to call me any minute when I fall asleep. And I got this in my head, and I'm like, then you sit there, caffeinate it. It's bad. Literally 10 minutes, Mike calls me. I'm like, this is not actually happening. And, can you go do one right now? It's in your town. How am I going to say no? So
it was in your town.
Sure. So I call the guy, and the hunter says, yeah, we can do it at 7. And I'm thinking at that point, yes, I can get about an hour's sleep. And I lay back down 10 minutes later. Mike calls me. Hey, what do you think about this about right now? Thinking I should
you started
shut my phone off.
That's funny. Oh. So basically, you accepted the lead, and then I was like, I got to get this update on the camera, and I turned the camera on and call you again. You were just getting ready to take a nap, and then it was like...
I was laid down again for 10 minutes. Bang again. But... Yeah, that was crazy. But I went the whole next day. I don't know how. I think that next night I got like 3 hours of sleep. It's just been absolutely crazy. But there are a few gaps in there where I got like 8 hours. But hey, you sleep when the sun shines when you do this.
Right.
So.
That is true. And the sun has been shining here in Ohio. I just don't know that it's been this sunny for this length of time that I can ever remember.
Not in November.
Like usually it's gray and just overcast.
Yeah.
No, not lately. It's just been bright sunshine and going for it, which isn't great for us. And the reason we're saying that is because you can't do thermal in the daytime because everything gets blown out. You might get lucky and find a deer or two with thermal, but you can't be super confident in doing it. Oh, yeah.
You can definitely find them. I've done it. I'm just too stubborn to quit when the sun starts shining. And you can find deer. The problem is you never know when you miss one.
Yep, exactly. Did you when you started this, right, I told you if you want to work with us, I'll send you leads. And rather than just like trying to do it completely on your own, and I don't have a problem with guys doing that, like being completely on their own. Did you think that it would be this busy? I mean,
no, not even close.
I mean, there's I don't know if there's 100 people doing this right in our area, but in Ohio, but there's a ton.
Yeah,
and there's still enough to go around.
Yeah, I was absolutely blown away when I talked with you about, hey, sent me some leads and stuff. I never imagined that you'd give me what I got already, and so I really haven't done hardly any. Well, I haven't done any official advertising or anything like that on my own. I just
are you going to get on the
friends
map?
And family. I do want. I was going to talk with you about that.
Yeah.
On the other hand, I was like, if Mike takes the calls and gives them to me,
I
that'll
already
work.
see that changing because we were going to give leads like to some of the guys in Southern Ohio, but they got onto the map. Well, now instead of those guys calling the main office, they're just calling that operator directly, which I don't have a problem with that. It's basically if the guy is close to your area, he's going to see your phone number and he's going to call you direct. Yeah. I did see a slowdown on my number because of more people joining the map. I don't have a problem with that. I just want to make sure that those guys that are on the map have the good equipment. Yeah. Anybody can get on right now, right? Like you can have those little baby drones like a Mavic 3T and do it. But my biggest thing is I want the hunters to educate themselves on you as the pilot and then what the equipment is that you're flying, because if you're showing up with a little Mavic 3T, you're not going to see what you can see with a Matrice.
For sure.
So definitely if you want to get on the map, I'd be curious to see if if calls come in for you, because I think where you're located, there's not a bunch of people north of there, northwest of there.
That's true.
But
yeah, for sure. We got to do that.
Yeah. I think that map being listed on the Drone Deer Recovery map is helping people out majorly. There's a guy out in the Midwest, and I also thought, dude, there's an opportunity for people that want to do road trips, like to just go and set up in an area and do recovery in that area. There's a guy in the Midwest. Because there's not a lot of people out there like there are here, he's been doing calls where he's driving 7 hours one way to do a call. Wow. Yeah, and charging for it.
Yikes.
Yeah. But he's making a bunch of money. He said he said he had 3 people pay him $2,500 or more to recover a deer.
But look at it. How much do these hunters spend trying to get that deer in the first place? And then when you finally hit him and not sure, well,
it totally makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it just totally makes sense. If you're going to spend $10,000 between your hunting blinds, your camo, your food plot, your seed, it just...
And they do that. They all do that. And not everybody.
A bunch of them.
Most of them, actually, most hunters will spend a lot of money on that stuff. So why not, once you actually have hit a deer, do whatever you can to recover?
Yeah, that's one thing when somebody calls me and asks what the price is, right? Our price here is $450 plus $100 if we find the deer dead or alive. And that includes 60 round trip miles. If it's over that, it's $1 a mile. So basically, if it's a round trip of 160 miles, they'll get charged $100 for the trip charge. And some people are like, whoa, too much. But then if you think about it, what they've already spent, It's weird that the final, right? Like the final get a drone out to recover the carcass, and you tell them it's between $450 and maybe $600. It's like, whoa, wouldn't do that.
Yeah, but I do think most people that they're willing to do that and understand why we should be charging that much, because it is crazy. Like, yeah, if you go out in the evening and you spend 10 minutes finding a bug, it seems like, well, this is pretty good. But when you're out there at 3:00 and you've been looking for it for 3 hours, it's
a grind.
It's brutal, and I've looked for some for many hours.
Yeah. You do not like giving up.
No, I have a little bit of an issue with that. I usually tell the customer, look, I ain't quitting until you make me quit. So, we, so usually they are.
Do the customers actually tell you, like, okay, Dennis, like, I'm done, I'm going to go home now? Or
Yeah.
That's happened?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me.
Well,
they
they usually don't say it to you directly. They're like, yeah, I think we've covered everything. I cannot see that this buck is anywhere in the area. So, yeah, we've got some other stuff, or, dinner's on the table. We need to go. And so there's been different. It's always depends on the situation.
But you've never like when the customer said, okay, it's I'm leaving, you've never stayed there and kept flying.
Yeah.
What?
I used to help. Listen, I'm not quite satisfied yet. So if you need to leave, I'm just gonna do like one more battery. I'll make it sound
God.
And then 3 batteries later.
Those are the people we need, though.
But
like the people that are not just doing it just for the dollars, but want to like find it. Because it becomes like an adult treasure hunt. You just don't want to quit.
Oh, yeah.
And then you find, you might find a coon or a coyote or another big buck, and it just pushes you to want to keep going.
I have never done anything where I can sit there for 3 hours and be that. I mean, the first few times I was shocked. I'm like, how is it 3 hours? Seems like 20 minutes. Like. The time just flies, but I love it. I love that. It is a bit of that treasure hunt thing, and I always know I'm that close.
You're.
And you know what doesn't help is when you're searching for one for 2 hours and you're sure you search and then you find him and there he is dead, and you're like, oh, I can never give up because I was thinking of it.
Yeah.
The next time you think of that, it's like, no.
Yep. Like, because if you would have quit 5 minutes earlier, the deer would have. Yeah.
You wouldn't have gotten it.
Yeah. I mean, as you were first learning, you may have been flying slower and not quite as confident, but now you can cover area and be pretty doggone confident.
Well, the other big thing is when I started, there were so many leaves on the trees that you had to, look at it from 10 different angles to look through it. And I found deer that way. But it takes way longer. The first time Mike saw me flying, he's like, dude, you're going way too slow.
I was like,
so,
whoa.
But now I motor it around pretty good out there. But as soon as I start to, we can see everything in this woods. You can just.
Do you ever fly in sport mode because you're covering that area?
I have not.
No.
I have not. I hear of too many drone crashes. I'm afraid.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, there have been a bunch of drone crashes.
Who was the guy who crashed the drone that I went to the customer?
Oh, yeah. So just tell them about that. So basically, there's another subcontractor locally that I gave a lead to because you were busy on another one. And then he went out, launched his drone, was talking to the customer straight up into the power line.
Dude, I don't want to, make fun of this. But I am already, so forget it. I'm probably going to crash my drone just to keep me humble. I'm telling you, I come out there, and the guy's like, yeah, that's where he crashed. And I'm looking, I'm like, are you kidding me? He just did not look up at all, did he?
Yeah.
Because he's right on the drive, literally 12 feet above is the electric line going into the house. And but the customer said, he was talking to me, and he was distracted, obviously. So I'm like,
luckily that drone was not completely destroyed, so it was an easy fix. We sent it up to Ohio Drone Repair. Roger got that thing turned around in one day. That's another thing. If you guys have drones that you crash, reach out to Ohio Drone Repair. He's able to turn those around usually within a day. The guy is legit. That is what he does, is really focus on repairing drones. But awesome. He was able to get that one turned around really quickly for the customer. But then you show up And you did you find that buck?
That was the buck I was showing you when I came in here.
Oh no!
It's
Okay,
still alive.
So you were able to find the buck, but it just wasn't.
Yeah,
there.
I located it pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe 20 minutes or.
Yeah, drone crashes are just part of this thing, right? Because we're flying at night, and those sensors, yes, they do have anti-collision sensors on them, but they only work if it's bright out or like daylight.
Yeah, or if it's something big enough that they can detect, like they could miss like a line, right?
Yeah,
like
they could miss
something
that. Yep.
really small. But yeah, that's a problem. If I want to get a better look at night, I'm going down so close to treetops. I'm like, oh, I can't tell where they're at, and it's a little crazy.
Well, you're saying you go down because there's like a lot of brush or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's
you're not pushing deer.
Open. Yeah, no, if it's open, then it's not a problem. But if I go down. No, it's crazy. And even if you spook deer at all, they'll run 50 feet or not even run. They'll go a few feet and stop and look. They do not like move.
Yeah, that's one misconception that a lot of people have is that there's all these drones flying around and just scaring deer and harassing deer and all that. And that's not the case at all. Did you see our buck fight video?
Oh, yeah, I did.
That drone was above them. Did they give a rip that there was a drone there?
Well, we've got plenty of video evidence that is not the case because they usually keep right on munching and don't even look at you. There are times where I thought, well, man, how's my drone scaring them like that? And then I see coyotes coming chasing them off. So actually just yesterday morning that happened.
I've seen that before.
Wow. They sure ignore the drone when that happens.
Well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Thanks so much for coming in, telling us some of your stories. If you guys want to get into this, obviously you guys can go check out dronedeerrecovery.com. Buy the whole drone kit from us and also list your business on our website. It's been helping out with a bunch of other people that have wanted to start. And we're excited about this growth. We get the question a lot all the time about legal stuff, and we do not give legal advice. So if you're going to reach out to it just for that, it's a whole long battle. Illinois doesn't like it. New York doesn't like it. Michigan doesn't like it. I could go on and on the states that don't like it, but I'm almost over the whole legal thing because it's like the same thing over and over. But so that's that. Thanks, Dennis, for coming in. We appreciate it, and we're gonna, on to the next one.